Craig McRae's got his team into a qualifying final in the most extraordinary circumstance. It's been a joy to have him with us throughout this incredible season, and here we are. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Andy. And Gazy, I don't know what's happened here. I've been arranged to a different seat.
Oh, no.
There's a bit of...
I think they're trying to move some units.
I think that they believe that you might actually provide a slightly more importance than what I do, so they want the screen in the background.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable taking a chair, Gazy.
You know what they need you to see? You know what they need you to do? They need you to say something controversial or big, so it gets a run around on all the news services tonight.
Yeah, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. It's been a fair bit's happened.
There's a bit going on.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. Like it was. Again, we've asked you about the magnitude of some of your game. We're going back a week and a half here, and it's all about what happens on Saturday, obviously, but. With the VFL game before the AFL Round 23 game, did you get a sense for there being something slightly different about that Sunday week ago at the MCG?
Yeah, the whole build-up at VFL had a cracking game. It was tight as well, and the crowd would come in for that.
Yeah, they were.
And cheering early. But that last quarter, that crowd, what was it, 88,000, whatever?
Yeah.
That was as loud as any crowd we've had this year. And then, when Jamie kicks that goal, I know that's a bad moment for you, Andy, but when Jamie kicked that goal, the goosebumps, and they just, the roar and the excitement, and then obviously what's to come of that, the outcomes for us and as Carlton was huge.
And do you personally, when that happens, do you have to control yourself, or are you that focused on the next play, as you're supposed to be? Or can you internally fist pump, or do you show much emotion on the side? Are you conscious of showing too much emotion?
I can't help but get caught up in all of it, and I think there's a fair bit of footage of me getting a bit carried away on the bench. But yeah, there was a moment I kicked it. All right, let's get. We know what we need to do. There's a clock right in front of me. I've looked at the clock so much this year. It's ridiculous because we've lived on looking at the clock. And a minute to go, push the button. We know what to do. You still got to go execute it. But yeah, you got to try to just keep it as present as you possibly can.
So can I know it's about forward, but just on that, the Elliott goal, as a small forward yourself, can you talk me through the way he played that and him taking it on board the way he did?
Yeah. It was. If you look at it closely, he actually has a look inside, and I think he probably sees my check and he sees Ginnivan right there, and I just loved how he looked at him and go, "This is mine," and take the opportunity. And the way he did that, I know in the third quarter, Bo McRae was bouncing down the wing. He had 3 bounces, and maybe it's just the way mine works as a former forward that you go, well, I can kick this goal. Go for it. Back yourself in, and that courage to do it. And Bo didn't quite grab that moment. He tried to pass it inside, but that was a very gettable shot for Bo. But the one Jamie, he looks at it. I'll take this chance. I'll take this opportunity and make it count.
Do you go back to Bo and say, hey, listen, back yourself, or do you just say, well, you just got to execute that better?
No, I grabbed him. He came off about 5 minutes later, and I'm on the bench. I walked over to him, and I remember having a 40-second conversation. Bo, for the rest of your life, you have a bounce. You think you can kick a goal. You kick a goal, mate.
Yeah.
I give you a license to go do that. Like, back yourself in. I think that's part. And then in the last quarter, he kicks a goal from the boundary line.
Incredible.
So, I'm not saying that a little bit of coincidental through the conversation, but the encouragement to back yourself in and go for it. And what happens? Happens? Yeah.
It'd be like the young basketballer.
Yeah.
And I imagine the same with the young football. The first time you knock down the 3 that presents itself to you, or kick the one from 55 on the run, the first time you do it, I imagine something is unlocked.
There's still some times, and I think you'd agree, there's still some times you give licenses to certain people.
Yeah, of course.
Not everyone gets a license to do what I think Craig's talking about, because there are some you're going, well, hang on, I'm not sure that's in our best interest.
Well, remember the NBA playoffs this year, the guy that took the shot?
Yes, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
He had 35 in the game or something like that. And he'd actually made a couple of threes, but that's not normally his go. And there was still enough time. It was in transition and he lets it fly. Now, most people have come back and said, well, he's got that license. I think it's a little bit, that's not as clear cut as it is with some others.
I get what you say. Yep.
Can you take me through the 12, 24, 36 hours for you after those games? What happens to you psychologically, physically? Because I can't imagine how taxing some of these games of footy have been.
Yeah, you've heard me say this before. I'm just in such a level of gratitude and gratefulness to be in this chair.
Yep.
Not Gazy's chair, the coaching chair.
I feel honoured.
But I just more than ever in my life, I've been smelling the roses and just appreciating what it has because you don't realise how quickly this could be gone. So I'm definitely doing that. So I go home and watch the replay and maybe have a glass of red and just live in it for a bit. The next day, I just almost like just completely lose my energy. It's tiring. I feel that build up and then the exhaustion after it. And it's something that maybe, I don't know, because so many wins and the adrenaline that goes through your body, it just escapes you 2 days later.
Well, when you're on such a high and things are going so well, they have the bye right now. In your specific circumstances, is that one that you appreciate having that week extra time, or would you rather just continue to ride that momentum?
Yeah, I'm a fan for let's go. Like we had a training session on Friday and we had the fans in. That was amazing. There was more fans than the VFL game on Sunday at training, and we trained as good as we have all year. I'm just watching these guys go.
Because you've said that a few times this year. So the standards are lifting.
And I'm not making this up. If anyone watched training, they go, "Whoa, this group is on." But every day, it feels like we're padding. I feel like we're padding for Saturday, and we're just in this moment of just waiting. And we're preparing really well for what's coming. But my view is let's get these games on.
Jeremy Howe gave us an interesting insight into what you did way back when and how, whether it was by design or otherwise, it's held you in really good stead for the season that's presented. It's just the rote learning, the repetition of your pre-season drills, the one-on-one, the competitive stuff, the ground balls, all of that kind of chaos stuff. And when the moment comes, you got to win your contest.
Yeah.
Was that? How much of that was by design, or did you? Where did that come from?
No, really deliberate. I don't know if you go back in your archives, and one of the first things I said, we did a heap of work on our fundamentals because of COVID and the lack of playing for our young group. We're 21 under 21, so we wanted to do a lot of fundamentals. So we were doing 20 minutes of fundamentals every session. 4 rotations of 5 minutes, and it's ground balls and it's aerial contest and handball shape and all these things, and we're trying to educate our players on that stuff. So very deliberate in our vision to do it. Yeah. We've maintained it the whole season. So even yesterday, and we'll do it again tomorrow, another 20 minutes. Yep. So this dripping tap approach that you can see now compared to where we started, and that'll be something we'll reflect on at some stage. We'll show them vision of what it looked like day one to where it is now. And we worked out last Thursday. We did a presentation about why we're in good shape. We've done 5 hours of one-on-one contests. 5 hours of it through the whole season. So there's a fair level of belief in this, boys. We'll be okay in this part of our game.
So do you keep going? Your programs evolve, and that'll happen while you're in the chair. But is that something that you can see yourself maintaining for as long as you are a senior coach?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fundamentals of the game are pivotal to performance. They link to roles and then link to your game plan. Yeah. There may be a transition where you go, well, we've done these 4, primary colours type stuff. We've done that. Then maybe we'll get into some different colours and what you need, Gazy, versus what you need, Andy. It might be slightly different. We can start to tailor your fundamentals as opposed to a core business of those. So that's something we'll futuristically we'll get involved with.
And what's the I do. What's the healthier team like? We were talking a little bit earlier about Nick Day.
Well, he's put the wind up, Collingwood. I don't know whether you're listening.
I was listening before,
I hope didn't drive it.
Extraordinary
I might have missed it.
Almost drove off the road.
I said people were doing that.
Some of the conversations with the group out the back as we go through an extensive preparation for our 3 hours of radio that might have been a bit of flippant comment. But apparently he was in the weight room and had a little tweak of some description. Can you fill us in?
Who are you talking about, Andrew?
Nick Dacos.
Thank you.
No, he's had a little bit of a sore back. Nothing untoward. Like it's almost like put your Ferrari in the garage, and we'll just keep it nice and smooth, and we might even just give it a bit of a clean, ready for the weekend.
But you know how it works this time of the year. I mean, you've seen it, you've lived it as a player, and if there's is there no doubt at all that he takes his place this week?
Not that I'm aware of. Yep. No, not unless something's changed.
Well, I reckon
today.
You'd know.
Yeah, well, someone would have let me know.
Yeah.
The doctor, funnily enough, we got this. app that comes through and messages, and every time he sends a message, it's always bad news. So I said to him the other day, any chance of maybe not sending me a message? I said, no, a nice one every now and again.
We were talking before because he was on with Dwayne Russell last week, Nick, and he's got a great affection for the number 35. Now, I know you've got bigger fish to fry, but we were talking about it for the first half an hour of the show today, that he'd like to keep the old man's number. It means a lot to him, and we understand the Prestige Como tradition at the footy club. Is that non-negotiable that next year the first pick comes into the footy club and just gets number 35 and you got to work something out with Nick?
No, I did hear Nick live, actually. We were just leaving work and I heard him and listening to the comments he made, and that's the first time I'd heard him say that. And, at the start of the year, there was little drive-by conversations. Do you think you'll keep it? And he didn't really answer the question, but that's the first time I've heard him categorically say he did want to keep it. I'm open-minded. I live in that space where I get the tradition of it, and I was actually there in 2011 when it started, with Presty and the story of it. So I get it, and I think there's more layers than to say I want the jumper. I think there's conversations around it. I heard you talk about Josh.
Yeah,
how he feels. I don't know how Josh would feel around that. Am I a traditionalist? Yes, but also I live in a space where. Well, I heard a caller say, what if Darren Mullane's jumper? I started to go, what a great idea.
Yeah.
If Nick does get it, and this is board approval and others than just myself, if Nick did keep it, then bringing back Darren Mullane's memory, which now is 3 generations it's 30 years now, that some may have forgot. And and again, the family would have to agree to that.
Of course, yeah.
All that I think would marry up to a nice outcome, but I'm a bit depleted if that's the case.
A number's important. Do you know, was your number important to you when you were playing for Brisbane?
I was well aware of who wore it prior to me, Johnny Gastev.
Yeah.
So I was aware of it, but I think it means something to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't probably have a historic memory or want for a jumper, a number. What about you guys? They retire your numbers?
They do. And it's one that, like I said to Andy, though, they do, if a new player comes in and is adamant about, well, I'd really like to wear it. And it happened a couple of seasons ago. Ray Gordon's number was retired.
Right.
And someone really wanted to wear it. And they went to Ray and said, listen, this is the case. And if Ray had said no, they would have went back to the player and said, no, you can't do it because this is the tradition that we have.
Yeah.
But he said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. So they allowed him to do it on the basis that it was approved by the player that you're honouring. Under those circumstances, I don't think there's a problem. But I've never been asked if anyone wanted to wear number 10.
Yeah, well, I think this year, you've heard me say, we're trying to honour the jumper and the meaning of it behind it. So, digging deeper into who wore it and the history of it, there's something important to us. So we want to hang on to that.
So what sort of, broadly outside of Nick, what sort of health are you in as a group?
Very good shape.
Yeah.
Nathan Kruger played in the VFL.
I saw that,
missed 15 games. He's back, so he's available. I think Brodie's the only recognisable one that probably would be in our starting 22. So we're in good shape. As I heard Chris say, they're as in good shape as they've ever been. So it should be a good contest.
Well,
I was just going to say, I wonder whether you are do you get any intel from down the highway? Do you hear anything about how they're tracking?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
You send your own spies down there?
Oh, we have eyes on the ground.
Anything you want to share with us here on the run home?
No.
Okay.
What about? But what you have done, I know, is you've broken down the film and you've gone through it all and tried to figure it out. And my judgment, based on I think everyone's judgment, is this is a very, very tough team that you're going to have to go up against.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is there an area that you're not? I'm probably not going to tell us, but is there any specific area that or a tempo? Is there something, a theme to what you're going to try and do in this one?
Yeah, you look at all the numbers, and I think we're 16th and 18th from a lot of the stuff that matters. And thankfully, there's 10 teams not playing anymore, so we're 8th in some of this contested ball and clearance stuff. But no, we had a good look at Geelong. Huge respect for what they've been able to do. 2 games on top of the ladder. They can have a full bill of health, and they're hard to stop. There's a lot of stuff in their game. They defend really well. Their back six are really strong, and then they're moving the ball as good as anyone in the competition. So there's a lot to be fearful of. But then again, we've defied logic in a lot of the numbers all year.
But you could go back. Wasn't it? You were 3/4. I know it was a long time ago. 3/4 time, you're 30 up with 6 goals up, weren't you?
Yeah, I think we're only the second team in history that's kicked 9 goals and a quarter against them. That was right. In round 3.
Yeah.
We are way different now to then, and so are they.
Right.
That's reality.
So there's not much relevance to what took place there?
Somewhat. Yeah, like we look at some things that why we scored some goals and how do we exploit that. There's always a manage and exploit. What do we need to manage here, and then how can we exploit them?
So just before we get to the break, you say you're in good health, and that's Jeremy Howe's okay, because he was the other one that didn't. He missed a training session this week. Is he okay as well?
All good to go, mate.
Right.
Of course he's good.
What about when he's got the capacity to give you that look?
Player management.
And he got away. He's a lovely bloke, nice and fun and all. But then when he wants you to just not ask another question about it, he's got the capacity to give you that look.
I think I've learned.
Have you always had that?
I've read the book How to Make Friends and Influence People.
You do it very well. It's 90 minutes fast forward.
Imagine a player coming in, hey, coach, I reckon I do better up the other end of the... You're doing well where you are, son.
And the key, okay. You're old, mate.
Is frenetic the right word to describe it? Because
the first comment was from round 3, and they put that to
I know early days we were criticised or judged around not being able to maintain a level of intensity, and I agree. We reviewed this round 3 game as heavy as we have all year, and the stuff that we got out of that game, we are still using. We talked about energy. Like we're trying to keep the ball alive all the time. That's not sustainable. We learned, hey, this is a great time to take that ball out of bounds. We'll get a stoppage set up and we can get our breath back. We might even be able to rotate. All these little lessons. So that energy in conversation was something that started back in round 3.
So it was so that was Chris back then, and then there's the Ed Langdon, the duck dinner, all that sort of stuff. Do you reckon, and I'm asking you to think what others are thinking about you, which is a difficult thing to do, but because there's no clear and obvious statistical explanation for what you're doing, do you reckon people are challenged by it? Do you reckon there's something going on that is not stacking up in the minds of other people in the game, whether they be opposition players, coaches, or pundits?
I think everyone's looking for how is this happening? I think everybody's sort of searching for something, but I know internally we know reasons why we're in good shape.
Yeah.
There's some huge data around our GPS and our running. Good luck trying to stay 4 quarters at the intensity that we've been playing in. And, there's a lot of work to be done on other parts of our game. Our contested possession's really dropped off, so we've got to get to work on that. And clearances are becoming more and more critical, including centre bounces. So we're well aware we've got parts of our game we've got to get better. I've also said before, the exciting part about us is we're in a discovery phase. We're still finding out where our ceilings are, and this is not our. This is the last chance saloon. No, we're in a moment of growth and getting better, and that part of our journey is finding out what we're capable of and where we need to get better at.
And what do you, when you're trying to predict of what an opponent is going to do, in particular with Geelong, and are they going to try and stamp their authority of the game and say, well, you guys do what we, or are they going to try and, where the balance lies? Have you thought through and have you got a prediction on what they're going to do?
Yes.
And okay,
there you go. You just got it.
I got the look.
You got the look.
I got the look.
He gave it to you.
I honestly have been racking my brain. We got 2 weeks to prepare for this game, which is unique in itself. But I'm constantly thinking about, all right, how do we manage that? How we can get an advantage there? Is it around stoppage? Is it around ball movement? Is it the way that we defend the ground? Is it moments that we just need to control better? It's constant. Unfortunately, my pillow gets a bit heavy at times to sleep because I sit there thinking about all these scenarios and what ifs and what could be. So, no, we give it a lot of thought.
Did you have any communication or say in the 4:35 start?
Not that I'm aware of. No, that just I got told roughly a couple of hours after the game it could look like that.
Is it a thing at all? Like, does it make any difference at all?
No, I did hear today that it could be 92,000, 94,000, which would be exciting. Ticket sales are going well.
Have you spoken to your player? Have you spoken to any of your boys about not the 4:35 time start, but what it means to them to have that energy that gets created by that Collingwood supporter base? Is that something you talk to them?
Did you know this? This is true. Yeah, we have.
I didn't know that.
No, okay. Well, you've coincidentally found a little opportunity that we've spoken about. Yeah, we've spoken about the Collingwood Army and the advantage that can give us.
What is the advantage? How do you draw on that?
Well, it's pretty loud. And there's a lot of them. And no doubt, and it's an opportunity for him now to say it publicly, thank you for our 100,000 members who turn up in Perth and turned up at the Gold Coast and in Adelaide and in Brisbane and continue to turn up at the MCG. We thank you immensely for what you've done for us this year, and then allowing our players to feed off the emotion of it and absolutely will us over the line. Those moments of the Jamie Elliott goal come from the energy that we've bouncing off each other. And, thanks to the Collingwood Army.
And the players reference, they have actually, whether they can put their finger on it as a thing, it is, there's something that energises them or gives them.
Yeah, we're looking for the little emotive games at the moment. And I stumbled across a video that tried to draw into the emotion of the Collingwood Army.
Oh, have you now?
Yeah, I can show you off air.
I'd love to see it.
That would be good. It's a thing. I mean, the energy that you get from them is phenomenal. And there's some players who generate it, I reckon, within the bleachers. You got a bloke off who got his first All-Australian blazer. How much fun is it coaching him, Braden Maynard?
Yeah, he's a great human being. Braden, on and off the field, he's great for our culture. He's a connector. He's there's a great bit of footage of him and Cripps when he hurt his ribs.
It was magnificent.
And
it was magnificent.
I love that. I'm going to eat your arm and I'm going to take that ball off you. I'm going to fight and scrap and then at the end I'm going to pat you on the back and shake your hand, look you in the eye and see you next time. Maybe that's just a little bit of my approach to things. That good luck trying to beat me in a contest, but then afterwards, well done.
So Craig,
really well.
He thought he hurt him. He thought he was hurt. He thought Cripps was badly hurt, and Cripps was over on his haunches, and I was calling it. And Maynard went up to him, and actually, I think he said, "Geez, mate, are you right?" You know. Yep. And then Cripps got up and played on, and about 2 minutes later, there's a boundary throw in, and Maynard stand alongside Cripps, trying to punch him in the ribs where he was hurt. I mean, it was magnificent stuff.
Oh, I do. I love that. We practice it. We practice at training that you do this drill flat out. You step over the line. Yeah. So all the players start on the boundary side. Not all, about 3 or 4 of these we call resets. You start off the boundary line, and I just say, boys, don't step over that white line until you're ready to give it everything you've got. So the ability to be on and off. And like after centre bounces is a perfect example. You're not on anymore, but you connect back to your players. But that mentality to step over the white line, and Braden, he's just a perfect example of the ability to go, all right, the ball's in play, let's go.
Is there any type of player you wouldn't back him to compete 50 against? Is he clearly says I'm happy to take on anyone. I mean, he's run down Cozzy Pickett. He's taken on. He wants to play on Jeremy Cameron. Is there anyone he can't play on?
No, I'd struggle to think that, and hence why we've been throwing him in the middle a bit more when we're desperate need of a centre bounce, because he's got this ability just to compete. And he's an exceptional talent. He's had a great year, and All Australia's just part of that.
And what about you had your little bets with Vossi? Is there a little something going on with Chris Scott?
I haven't. I've texted him afterwards, like the day after, to make sure he's okay. But I've just left him alone a little bit. I just want to just let the dust settle a little bit before I go and gloat at a dinner.
But you won't. There's no side bet on this one with the old team.
No, I mean with Chris.
With Chris.
Yeah.
Oh no. The friendship's not as deep as it is with Michael.
Right.
Okay. There's obviously a huge amount of respect. We've played in premierships together, but no, and it's a bit further to go down the freeway to go to dinner as well.
That's true.
That's a good point. No. And what was the question you wanted to ask about? I presume I know what the question is.
Well, I read that Mason Cox, he's had his glasses stolen now. Hopefully they're not some sort of good luck charm either.
Well, I remember there was a game, I think it might have been the Melbourne game, that I was one of the last to leave at press conference, and everyone else was. So I was sort of just clearing the sheds a bit, picking up rubbish and putting it in the bins and things, just make sure we leave it in a good order. And I found this box. And I thought, I don't know what this is. I better take it anyway. Turns out they're his glasses. But I didn't know. But there was a wild goose chase for 3 days looking for these glasses.
Oh dear!
I'm rocking Monday.
Are you fanning?
They're on my desk, and this is not this trip.
Are you? Oh right.
And then so they're on my desk, and then Mason walks in and goes, "What are they?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've got your glasses." He goes, "Oh my God, I've been looking for 3 days for these things." But no, I don't know where the current ones
I heard that might have been stolen or something. Maybe there's
really.
Well, that's what it just says on the screen here.
I think they were taken from his domestic address, weren't they?
Is that right?
I think a parcel was taken from out the front of his where he lives.
He had like 30 pairs of these things, all different shades and for days and night games and afternoon games. So, if you're out there listening, I think he needs them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you, Wayne, just going back to something, I was just thinking about it when we were listening to the news then, that you said before about the Collingwood Army, and how much of that can be a selling point? And this is down the track. This is after your finals campaign's over, but we're all in the game to bring new talent to your footy club. How much do you think that is a draw for players, seeing what your players get to experience week in, week out?
Yeah, we're pretty clear that we want to be a destination club to recruit good talent. The Anzac Day and the Queen's Birthday, great opportunities to sell what the club could be. And having lived in Queensland and been a non-footy state, the lure of 90,000 the MCG most weeks is an attraction.
Yeah.
And so no doubting for the expansion clubs, the Gold Coast and GWS, they can't compete with that. They can't compete with the go-home factor one, and then a big club lure of whether it's us or Richmond or Essendon and Carlton, that, hey, we can provide big games for you. And we've played 14, 15 games at the MCG this year, so no doubting that I think that's a competitive advantage.
And how much of a natural advantage, getting back to the here and now, is it that you go from it just becomes the weekly norm? Like, okay, it's a qualifying final. It's not round 23 anymore. But when your boys get to that ground and they see the number and the vastness of the people in the stands, it's just going to be like a home and away. I mean, it's not. We know that it's different. But the visceral experience of what they run into, it's going to be commonplace for them.
Yeah, I think it's a shared experience that our group have been able to do this year, and it's not just this year. You pitch your pedals is played in front of millions of people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they've done it over and over again. I think the advantage comes probably deeper when you're playing an interstate team, and you've got, I remember at Richmond there was GWS versus Richmond in a brilliant final, and there was 97,000 Richmond supporters. So that becomes a whole another layer of it. But having lived in the space of 88,000 is a normal crowd, which is hard to say it out loud, isn't it? Especially with, there's about 4 players this year in our team that hadn't played in front of crowds before. That because of COVID, and they've debuted last year with no crowds. So those experiences hopefully will serve us well.
What do you? I know it's another team, kicks off tomorrow night. What do you reckon Dusty's got in store for us this finals campaign?
Now that they're on the other side of the draw, I hope he plays really well. I think the game is better for when Dusty's playing great footy. I think he's the sort of guy that people want to come and watch, and I know my young daughter sees him on the news as Dusty. As she says to Clarko still. He's someone that makes the game more enjoyable to watch. So hopefully he's in good form and he plays well.
What do you, again, you're focusing on yours, but what expectation should we have? You've seen him prepare. You know how he can get himself up for big games. He hasn't played for so long, and he's stepping into an elimination final. What should we expect from Martin, do you think, without knowing how he's going physically?
I think it's a difficult one to answer because I'm not sure to see the detail of the preparation. My experience of Dusty when he's up and going, he found the correlation between being an elite trainer and elite performer. I saw that in front of my eyes from 2016 through to when he's won the Norm Smith medal. So I doubt that you lose that want to be an elite preparer. So if he's prepared really well, I think then you'd expect his best.
How excited are you for Saturday?
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it is. I'm just trying to temper it at the minute and just prepare really well for it. But the anxieties of 48 hours plus towards the game is getting tighter. And
were you able to find a way of moderating your enthusiasm levels given the week off? Did you find that, personally, did you find that really hard to kind of get through, stay up, the whole focus levels required, the enthusiasm levels and all that sort of stuff?
Not knowingly. I went to the VFL game a little bit more on edge because I didn't get out my normal testosterone or whatever it is for match day. I didn't have that. Maybe that was something I could reflect on, but I just trying to be myself, live in the moment and enjoy the ride.
Andy, I think it might have been Kane Corns made some comments about your team perhaps over-celebrating a little bit.
Cornsy did.
Yeah, was it Kane? Yeah, I remember hearing it. Is that something that you're conscious of? Do you try to pull back on that at all, or let them do what they want?
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of celebrating the wins and celebrating the little wins and celebrating each other. And I'd be different if, because I've been talking about acting like winners all year. I'd be different if Monday morning looked like we're still celebrating.
Right.
And Monday mornings have never looked like we have. Monday mornings look busy and look energetic to get better. And again, it's been our continuous growth as a group is let's get to work, let's get better. And why wouldn't you want to celebrate the little things along the way? Because we'll be quick to be told when they're not working. I think acting like winners is part of celebrating.
Mate, good luck. It's just been remarkable. It was incredible a week and a half ago, and who knows what.
What a ride.
Who knows
what a ride
Yeah.
that you've taken, not only the Collingwood fans,
but
I
it's been
think
the footy story of
all
the year.
footy fans on with just the extraordinary way, the dramatic way you've been able to find ways to win. It's been something very, very special. I can't remember a team that's been able to do this so consistently. And I know from my own experiences it only comes through being very well organised, very well drilled, and you've played an extraordinary part in that. So congratulations to you.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks, Andy. Well, let's just hope we get to three-quarter time. We're just only a couple of goals down.
Well, you know what we'll all be expecting.
That'll be fun.
That will be fun. Good luck, mate. Thanks for coming in.